Hey guys, this is going to be mostly a trade haul. I sometimes debate whether to do hauls at all. I mean, I don't feel like my hauls are very good or exciting compared to like Shannon's hauls or Why Not Art's hauls or someone like that. I just don't have, I just don't seem to collect a bunch of cool like Silver Age or Bronze Age stuff all at once. So anyway, this is mostly going to be trades. I have just been on an insane buying spree this August. So I think I dropped over $250 at in stock trades. I have been buying things on eBay. I bought things from mycomicshop.com. I have things on the way from Midtown Comics. I have where else have I bought? I bought quite a lot of stuff from local shops. I showed in my one of my Batman videos recently 25 issues of Legends of the Dark Knight that I picked up from their cheap bins, and at the same time, which I didn't show and I've already shuffled into my boxes, but a bunch of Action Comics and a bunch of other things. I think I might have one or two of the things that I found there still here to show you guys. But yeah, all kinds of getting stuff from all over the place. So tomorrow, more stuff from Tomorrow's, the publishers of the high end fanzines. For starters, I know that this is not a comic that very many people are excited about, and I'm not sure if I'm excited about it or I have to catch up on my reading of it. But I still am excited to get this giant pen and ink edition of Sirens #1 from George Perez and Boom Studios. Um, these things are pretty gigantic. There's a regular comic book next to it. I don't know if they're quite as big as the artist editions, and they work differently because they are like a DVD creator track with commentary, like an annotated thing with commentary at the bottom. The interesting thing about this one is you get the inked pages in this nice black and white big size, and I'm really glad for that because I love Perez's art, and I thought it was not served well by the coloring in this issue. But then the second half is the pencils. But the really weird thing is the pencils include the lettering. So the pencils have the lettering, but the inks don't. And I thought the lettering would either be put on digitally with the just on the after it's been inked, or be done by hand over the pencils, and then the inks would come. So I don't. Maybe someone who knows more about comic book rejection can tell me what happened here, or maybe I will figure it out once I actually get time to read through all the notes in here. But I'm pretty psyched about that. I am all about the oversized comics. I don't know what it is, but bigger is better for me. Um, and then I also got, I think this one was from mycomicbookshop.com, also known as Lone Star. Uh, this low grade copy of a Doctor Strange Treasury Edition. The cover is by Frank Brenner, but the interiors are mostly Ditko, which I'm on a Ditko binge now. I didn't even know for sure who the artists would be in here. And then there's also a Gene Colan story, which is also very cool to see at a big size. And everything looks totally fine in here. I guess what made it a low grade, along with that, like maybe a piece of tape had pulled off some of the cover, is if you run your fingers along it, you can feel creases in the cover, in this heavy cardboard stock cover. You can't really see them. So I think Lone Star graded these as a 3.0. And if this is what their 3.0s are like and I can get them cheaply, I'm pretty happy to have these as a reader copy. So yeah, that was a very happy acquisition. All of these acquisitions make me happy. And it's definitely partially about the way summer is in my life now. Now that I have a child. So let's see. Well, some back issues. I got very random back issues, and I'm not able to show them all to you. But I got some very cheap Jack Kirby books from his DC days at one of my favorite shops, which is usually kind of expensive on the back issues. So they're probably in bad shape. You can't really tell though from the covers. Also got this Thor, like for $4 or something. So I know some people, especially a certain person in Canada, get incredible, incredible deals on back issues, but I don't usually. On eBay, I paid a few dollars, but then when you add the postage, not so few. For 2001: A Space Odyssey by Jack Kirby, issue 1 and 2. I want to get the rest of these. I think I have one other issue in my collection at the moment. I read most of them as a kid, and one of those things I didn't save. Oh, here's another New Gods one. This one I got off of eBay. I think I'm hoping it's in better condition than the ones I get at the shops. It's in one of those wrinkly bags, and I haven't even taken it out yet. This is one of the greatest comic book issues in mainstream superhero comics, if you can even call this superhero, of all time, in my opinion. It's kind of the backstory on how, and I think I've talked about it in videos years ago, backstory of how the High Father and Darkseid came to their treaty that sort of leads up to the events of the status quo of Orion and the New Gods and Apocalypse. From some bargain bins, I've got Phantom Lady and Dollman, a 4-issue DC series. I like the covers a lot. I don't know if they're Amanda Conner. They're someone similar to that. The interior art that I've glanced at is not at all the same, so that's a little disappointing. It's by Palmiotti and Gray, so it's probably a decent story. But it was kind of, you don't see, these are golden age heroes, Phantom Lady and Dollman, and you don't see them too often, and I just thought I'd grab it. And this was from the ultra bargain bins, as was Abe Sapien #1. I'd been thinking about jumping on Abe Sapien just as I did with BPRD, and it's taken me like 10 or 12 issues to get my feet with BPRD, just jumping in on Abe Sapien. But when I saw this #1 of Abe Sapien, which cost me 70 cents, thought I'd grab that right away. I've been hunting down, well, also from the cheap bins was this #1 of Fashion Beast by Alan Moore and Malcolm McLaren. I don't trust anything with Malcolm McLaren's name on it. And I don't think this was originally written as a comic book. I don't know if it was a movie script or a scenario or a play or something. But if I like this first issue, I'll try to hunt down the others. I don't know if I can find them all just as cheaply. I did pay cover price for Godkiller #1, Black Mask, but I felt pretty happy to even find it. I've been going through a lot of pain trying to find Black Mask comics. Hopefully if I read this and I like it, I can find the other issues of Godkiller. But I assume the later issues are a little easier to acquire. Oh, another thing that in my craze of acquisition during August, I have also bought a ton of digital comics when they're on sale. I'll see them $1 a piece and bing, bing, bing. I'll just grab them. Why not? I just want more comics. I want them available. And sometimes they are things I already have, but I love the art so much I want to look at it digitally also, like Rumble by the James Herron art. Same with Ragnarok by Walt Simonson. I really like the art in that, and I like it even more digitally, actually. Maybe because the coloring works better digitally. But the story is okay, but I think it's really good Simonson art. And sort of related to that, I had thought I bought the Wayward trade, and I think on Twitter told Mercy's Little Show, who was the person who influenced me to get it, that I'd gotten it. But then I looked around and I didn't have the trade. So then I saw all these back issues of Wayward. So I just grabbed them. This was at this gaming shop that I've just discovered that just seems to have all kinds of weird stock there. Anyway, and then I discovered, yes, I did have all these issues of Wayward digitally already. I had bought on some sale, bought them digitally. But I have bought so much stuff digitally lately. Went on sale, just this urge to hoard and have lots of comics this month. So, like, for instance, I got digitally all 18 or 21 or however many they are, Marvel the first Marvel Red Sonja run, which is now owned by Dynamite. So I bought them from Dynamite, which is mostly Frank Thorne and Roy Thomas writing. That's just one example of the, oh, I'll just spend $18. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, so you might be wondering why. Why am I, what it is about August? Past 3 or 4 summers, I've been discovering, since my daughter was in last year preschool, and they didn't have a summer part of that preschool, so she had the summer off. Each summer, huge demands are made on me. I mean, lots of demands are made on any parent, but huge demands are made on me during the summer. My daughter and wife spend the day together, and I get home from work and my wife can't take anymore, and I have to spend the rest of my day. So my entire life is childcare and work. So my reading time is down to like 1 or 2 lunch breaks a week at work, and it feels like I'm going insane. So to make up for it, I bought lots of comics. I had time to buy comics, I just didn't have time to read them. So the irony is, when I normally am reading a lot more comics, I don't give way to this urge to buy so many. But also, I think once you start buying and you sort of let go of that resistance and say, well, if I'm spending money anyway, I might as well get this and that. So that's one reason for the huge in-stock trades. Picked up Supreme Blue Rose, which I've heard good things about. It's Warren Ellis. I think this is the whole run in this edition. I got this oddity. There is sort of a danger of buying online. In-stock trades is so cheap that you start feeling brave to try things out. I really liked the few Shaky Cane. Sorry, my microphone just went back. Hopefully you heard what I said. I really like the few Shaky Cane books I've read, and this one was entirely by Shaky Cane, just called Monster Truck. It wasn't very expensive, because I think I got it about close to half price, so around $7. So I thought, what the hell, I'll get it. This is very odd, though. It has a single panel per page, and you can see that there's only anything printed on the left side of each page. So this is going to be a very short read. I'm glad I didn't pay glad I didn't pay cover price for it. You got to be a big Shaky Cane fan to pay $15 for a few panels. It looks really cool. I mean, I do love Shaky Cane's twisted retro underground approach. We'll see what this is like. Maybe I'll do a little review on it sometime. Just floating around for a few dollars on in-stock trades was this Thunder Agents reprint thing. I seem to keep picking up Thunder Agent reprints. Then I already have volume 1 of the Tom Strong Deluxe Edition. Bigger is better. I already have all the individual issues, but now I have them bigger, nicer hardback. Not bigger, so probably not better, but on very shiny paper. They kind of have a lot of gall calling this the Deluxe Edition. I guess it is a bit bigger than an average comic book, but I guess I had thought that this Superman versus Muhammad Ali would be in the original size, which was a Treasury Edition size, I believe. I think I had it as a kid, or either that or a friend of mine did. I think of it, really don't know the timing of things, but I think of it as kind of Neil Adams' final big work for DC or Marvel, before he kind of went off and was his own man. And it does look like kind of later Neil Adams artwork that's even slicker than others. I'm still glad to have it, and given that I paid like half price, so $10 for this. It's not bad. But it would have been nice if it was as big as the Treasury edition. Okay, hang on a second. While I'm on the subject of books that aren't as big as the original, here is the deluxe Red Rocket by Michael Allred. A $49.99 sticker price. I don't know if that's in focus. But anyway, believe me, $50 is the list price for this. So I paid maybe 42% off or 47% off. And it's much smaller than a comic book. And the original was much bigger than a comic book. So I don't, Dark Horse usually has such great value in their hardback. So I just assumed when I ordered it online that it was a very large comic. So I'm kind of bummed about that. This is a bit large size, Infinite Vacation, the hardback by Nick Spencer and Christian Ward. I basically got it because of Christian Ward, although I think I've heard people say this was a really good series. I think it took like a really long time to come out or something. So this is what Christian Ward was doing before ODYC. You can definitely see the similar artistic style, but I think ODYC is more advanced. But I'm pretty psyched to own this. And again, with in-stock trades, it seemed like a good value. So almost everything I got feels like a really good value, except for those two books I mentioned previously. For instance, this giant tome of Grant Morrison, Animal Man. I do always think of the old Animal Mans, because I read them at the time they were coming out, as having good story but very pedestrian art. Not to really put down the artists, but it was a weird combination of very kind of nondescript art and such unusual writing. Maybe that's a good thing. But I'm really psyched to own all this. I don't have my old Animal Mans, and it's the kind of thing I prefer to have in one tome like that. I also got the Krypton Companion, which I believe discusses the Superman mythos as created between 1958 and 1986. Is that up to the point where John Byrne rebooted the whole thing? So it's kind of what we now think of as the classic Superman mythos. And I read a little bit of it and really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading more of that. Got The Bunker Volume 2. Really liked Volume 1, so it's going to be great to read Volume 2 when I get the chance. Volume 3 of Rachel Rising. I'm kind of spreading out my reading of Rachel Rising. It's intense and one of the best comic books out there, and I'm taking it slowly on it. So I haven't quite finished Volume 2, but I have Volume 3 ready to go. Really, really good stuff. I'm not sure if I'll love this. It's certainly a nice addition. The first East of West Apocalypse Year 1, the first 15 issues collected into an oversized hardback. I bought the first 2 issues and didn't feel like it grabbed me enough at the time, but I've heard other people say that it really kicked into high gear in a few more issues. So for me, maybe reading 15 issues together will be the way to go. This one's called Gilbert Hernandez, but it's by Gilbert Hernandez, and it's called Grip, The Strange World of Men. It's a slightly undersized Dark Horse again, but this time very reasonably priced book by Gilbert Hernandez, the other brother in the of the two main brothers who did Love and Rockets. I used to be mostly focused on Jaime Hernandez or Jamie Hernandez and his very smooth art, but now I think I prefer the slightly crazier stuff by Gilbert Hernandez. At least a couple of things I've read lately I liked a lot, such as Sloth. So I don't know what the Grip, The Strange World of Men is about, but I look forward to it. there's a crazy sense of humor. I mean, you can just see it immediately, not only in the drawing style, but the covers of each issue. The first one's called Grip of Fear, and then the next one's Gripping Fear and Romance. So there's definitely playing with the old-time comics and everything. Look at that page. So yeah, also real psyched for that. I mean, I don't buy much that I'm not psyched for. Drifter, I actually read the first 2 issues of this. Liked it, didn't love it, let it go. Have heard some people like Jared Osborne really liking it. Most people kind of dropped it. But I realized I wanted it, and trades is the way to go for me for this. I like to have more science fiction in my life. Bodies, Cy Spencer and various artists. Spencer is currently doing Spire, and he did X-Men Legacy, which was excellent. I'd heard good things about this and was eager to jump on it. And finally, in these trades from InStock is Capra Round 1. Capra is this indie / zine thing that a one-man show, this Michel Fife, or Michel Fife, I'm not sure how you say his name. It is a he. It's kind of an outsider art version of the Suicide Squad. I think he's acknowledging that it's all based on John Ostrander's Suicide Squad, or is that John Ostrander's Secret Six? I think it's Suicide Squad. So I've gotten some other issues of this and really enjoyed the art. Couldn't really make a whole lot of sense of the story, but hoping if I start from the beginning it will help me. Amazingly, so he only published 500 copies of each issue at first. So the individual early issues go very expensively now. And amazingly, he's gotten work at Marvel. So we'll see if he continues there. He's mostly been writing at Marvel, but he even wrote and drew a romance story in the current Secret Wars romance book. So here's hoping I understand things more when I read that. Some other odd things I found at Cosmic Monkey. This is a gross cover, and there's nothing gross inside like that. But this is a pretty well done comic from a publisher called Pop Goes the Icon. And I think this writer, Russell Lissau, has written some mainstream comics. And it's kind of a postmodern superhero thing. It's heroes in retirement because they were injured, and then one of them has gotten killed. But there seems to be a pretty individualistic take on it. So it's one of 4, and I saw the issue 2 and 3 at the store. I thought I'd just pick up one and see how it was. And I liked it quite a bit. So if I go back in time to that store, I'll grab the other issues. And they also had this book, which I think is called It All Will Hurt. Or maybe it's called 3. Or is it All Will Hurt, issue 3? It cost $8, so I probably will end up, yeah, It All Will Hurt. That must be the name of it. I haven't tried reading it yet. It looks quirky. It looks very zine-ish, except it's in color. $8 is kind of a pretty normal amount to pay for the zines, I'm afraid. So that this one was in color seemed like a bargain. I was curious, so I picked it up. Okay, and then just the other day from Tomorrow's, they had a sale, I think 40% off of almost everything. And so I ordered more stuff from them, including this Captain Victory Graphite edition, which is the, that page isn't even, they must have been missing one of the pages. It's the Xerox. Jack Kirby did Xeroxes of his pencils later in his career before sending them off to be inked. So they have the Xeroxes around, and they've published them in these graphite editions, a few things. I also think I have the Silver Star Graphite edition. Um, so it's not the best reproduction of his pencils, but it's still worth getting if you're, you know, as into Jack Kirby as I am. And it doesn't cost very much. So got that, and it's published by Tomorrows. It's part of their whole Jack Kirby collector thing, and along with that, they also publish Jack Kirby Checklist, the gold edition. I think there's been another edition before it, but so it's tells you everything and everywhere that Jack Kirby was published. Imagine you had a career that just the checklist of your career was over 120 pages. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. And then a bunch of their back issue fanzines. This one's about Mike Grell. Here's one about liberated ladies. I've gotten tons of these before, showed many of them before in other halls. I thought this was going to be a Doctor Strange issue, but it looks like it's a tryouts, one-shots, and one-hit wonders issue. So I'm not sure why they're showing Doctor Strange on the cover. This is a Bronze Age events comics issue. So things like the Avengers versus the Defenders, which was a crossover for like 4 issues or 3 issues in both the Avengers and Defenders in the 70s. I guess Secret Wars is included in here, Crisis and stuff. So yeah, I think I'll have more fun reading about event comics than reading the event comics. And then one issue of another one of their magazines, which focuses on interviews with artists, Draw. I really like this magazine, actually, but they don't have many issues of it. And I just picked this one out as one that might be interesting to me. There's not only is the shop where I have my pull 6 or 7 blocks that way, 3 blocks that way, there is now a small comic book shop called Cloud9 that just sells used comics, and I think they make most of their money selling at conventions. And a lot of their stuff, like their Silver and Bronze Age stuff, is more collectible, so it's a little bit higher priced and probably a little too high priced for what it is, but at least for those of us who buy in bulk. But they do have some stuff, so they had some heavy metals that I got cheaply from 1982. $2 for that. This thing called Son of Heavy Metal, which is also from 1982. I never even heard of it before. It's almost like there was just so much good heavy metal material that they had to put out a second magazine for a while. And this one boasts having complete stories, and it looks pretty good. I don't know how many issues there was of it. Maybe this was the only one. I think this is issue 1. It's pretty. The cover's pretty scuffed up, but inside it looks completely fine. Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of excited just opening it up. And then another issue from 83. I don't know why the others were all $2. I don't know why this one's $4, maybe slightly better condition. One of these had some Mobius in it from the Incal, and I'm now reading the Incal in a complete edition, and I realized reading like 4 pages of the Incal at a go every month must have been a pretty hard way to read it. So that might be partially why it made less of an impression on me then than it does now. And then I got this kind of beat up issue of the Hulk, which at first was a black and white magazine, but then they switched it over to color. And this one interests me because it's Ron Wilson penciling with Alfredo Aquilar doing the inks. Kind of a funny combination, you know, Aquilar's inks over someone who is kind of a Kirby clone. A good Kirby clone. I used to like Ron Wilson, but definitely in the Kirby footsteps. So I'm always picking away at this Hulk magazine series. I probably have about 6 or 7 of them now when I find them cheap. Looks like this. Oh, the cover's ripped on the back. So that's why that was only a few bucks. So yeah, I've got more coming to me from eBay. I've got a copy of Avengers '93 coming that I finally won in a bid. I've been bidding on a lot of copies of that. It's a pretty popular Neil Adams Kree Skrull War issue that was also the first comic I ever bought as a kid. So I finally decided, after letting the floodgates go of acquiring things I'd been holding myself back on, that it was time to get that. And some more Commandy and New Gods stuff coming in from eBay. The Treasury edition of 2001. Yeah, I think I need to close off those floodgates again. You've already seen, if you've watched my video on my to read pile, how much enormous amounts of stuff I have to read. So in terms of as being a reader, I don't really need to buy any more stuff. Definitely, part of it, like buying the trades and stuff, has a lot to do with this panic that I want more personal time to read. Reading maybe symbolizes personal time. But also there's the mix of the nostalgia and the power of the nostalgia for some of these things, which also, when you start saying, well, I'll get this thing that I've had all this nostalgia about, then you start noticing all the other things you have nostalgia about and wanting to get those. Normally I pick up those things in a slow trickle, but now it was a much faster trickle, I guess. So yeah, Confessions of a Shopaholic. Talk to you guys later.